Hey guys, it's me again. Okay, so hopefully you were able to get your first Java program running. Just to do a quick recap, we used this system out print line to print something on the console that shows down here. And the command that we used for that, we used a short key that was, I sometimes call SYSO, S-Y-S-O, and then control space will fill in the rest of the code for you. And we'll be using that a lot. Control space after we've learned what those codes are. Alright, so we're going to learn about a different way to interact with the user using pop-ups. So I'm going to create a new class for that. You can click over on the lesson or on the package. If you have more than one project, you'll need to select which one. And I'm going to use this drop down to say new class. This one's going to be called pop-ups. And with any Java class, you need a main method to get it running. So I'm going to use the short code for main, M-A-I-N, control space, and it will fill in all that stuff for me. In this case, you can see that the indentation is a little bit different to last time. This is the correct form because these curly braces are indicating the start and the end of something. In this case, this is the start of the main method and this is the end. This one signifies the start of the class and this is the end of that class. So it's much easier to read when it indents like this, and it will do it automatically for you. You can use the short keys when you get good. For me on my Mac, that's the Mac key, Shift and F. But if you don't remember that just yet, you can right click and go to source format and that will do it for you too. So you can see what this is saying. The formatting is telling me that the main method is inside of the class called pop-ups. Alright, so we have a pop-up in Java that's an awkwardly named thing called JOptionPane, but I'm going to use the short key, JOP, and then control space, and then it's bringing up JOptionPane for me. After that, I'm going to put a dot. And what the dot does is it tells you all the things that you can use with a JOptionPane. We'll be talking more about this later, but JOptionPane is an object, and to see what an object provides, you use the dot, and then it will give you this pretty long list that I have here. So I kind of know what I'm looking for. I'm going to start typing so that I don't have to scroll through all of those. And I'm looking for a message dialog. That's one that will just inform the user of something. Okay, in this first place, I'm going to select the null. You don't need to really understand that yet. And the second part is going to be a message that I'm going to surround with a pair of quotes. The quotes mean that the string is going in here. Okay, so what I've put in this string should show up in my pop-up. I'm going to run it with the green button. And there's my pop-up. Okay, so this is JOptionPane, show message dialog is the method, and it's one that doesn't have a place for the user to enter anything. It's just an information. Okay, so if you wanted to interact with the user and get some stuff from them, you would use also JOptionPane, but this time we're going to use show input dialog. And you would use this for asking questions. Oops. So I need a quote at the end of my string, and also this needs a semicolon. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed yet, but at the end of every line in Java has a semicolon. That's how you tell it that it's the end of the line, the end of the command. Alright, so let's see what we get from this. Okay, the first thing is an information pop-up. And then the second thing is an input box. So I would type in here. Alright. So I haven't shown you yet what you would actually do with that information because there's another little piece, and this is pretty important. It's probably the thing that you will use most in your programming life, and the things that we're going to learn about are called variables. Variables. Muy importante. Okay, variables are little pieces of information in your program. And for now, we're going to just look at two types. We're going to look at an int variable and a string variable. And those are kinds of variables. When you make a variable, you follow this structure. So first, you say what type it is. Then we're going to give the name of the variable. And then we're going to set it to some value. Okay, you see the stuff that I'm typing now is green. That's what's called a comment. And a comment is something that the compiler is not going to interpret. It's just words for you as a programmer if you want to tell yourself something, like remind yourself something, or if you want to explain what your code's doing for some other programmer. Okay, so back to making variables. The first variable I'm going to make is going to be an int. Int is short for integer. I'm going to say it's of type int, just call it x, and then set it equal to 0. So you can see I'm following this structure. First, the type is int. Next, the name is x. And then I've set it equal to a value, which is 0. Ints are what we use for numeric values. And the other most common one that we'll use is string. Strings are used to hold characters or words. Okay, so I'm going to make a string for today, and it's Friday, semicolon. Okay, so what this means is I've made a little box called today. It can take strings, and the string that's in it right now is Friday. So just to make that a little clearer, I'm going to show you how I could print this out. So, if I put in the parentheses here, today, what is going to print out? Okay, Friday is going to print out because inside of the today variable is Friday, and then when I say system out print, then I get today. This is different to if I put today like that. What do you think will print out now? Okay, this is printed out today because I put quotes around it. This is no longer a variable, it's a string. So no matter what happens to this, I'm still always going to get today until I take the quotes out. And now today is a variable again, and I get the updated value. Okay, the reason I'm telling you all this about variables is we need to use one with this input dialog. Commented those out for the moment. So the variable that we're going to use needs to hold the result of what the user typed in the little box. Alright, so we know of two kinds of variables. There's a string and an int. So which kind do you think we'll use for this? Okay, well the user is going to be typing in words, so we're going to use a string. Okay, so what's happening here is the result of what the user inputs into the little into the pop-up is going to sit inside of the user's favorite color variable. Okay, I'm going to run it. Okay, so we haven't actually done anything with the user's favorite color variable, but you can imagine that I might do something like this. I'm going to tell them that I know what their favorite color is. Okay, so should I use a message dialog or an input dialog for this? I'm going to use a message dialog because I'm not interested in getting any more input from the user. I'm just telling them something. Okay, so now we're actually doing something with it. I also like the color orange. All right, I would like for there to be a space between the color word and the orange word. So I'm going to put the space here before the quotes. Okay, that looks a little better. If I wanted to put a full stop, I would add another plus there and put the full stop in quotes. Okay, so what this is called is string concatenation. It's a very big word for something pretty simple. It just means that you are putting together these three strings. So the first string is this stuff in blue. The next one is the string variable user's favorite color. And the last string is the full stop, or the period, as you say in America. And this command has concatenated the string together and then printed it out on the screen. Okay, since I'm using a variable for user's favorite color, I should be able to put a different color in. Okay, so the value that was in user's favorite color has changed depending on what I put in the input, and now it's black. And that's why we call those variables. All right, next we're going to try doing some little exercises with this. So, time for you guys to start coding.